Hi guys, well I've just seen A Good Day to Die Hard, and I have to tell you guys, thank goodness I have my Cineworld Unlimited card, because I would have been really pissed off if I'd have actually paid to see this movie. If I'd have actually, it wasn't part of the package, of paying monthly to see as many films as I can, but actually going in there and spending like 16, 17 pounds for me and my wife to go and see this film, because it was terrible, to be honest with you. At first, when it finished, I was like, well, it wasn't good. But like when I'm walking to the car, I'm starting going over what I just witnessed with my own eyes, and I have to say this film was just rubbish. Some of the stuff that went on, it is so not a Die Hard film. It just isn't. It breaks all the rules of what made the first one great. Okay, here's the first thing in Die Hard. All right, you have to actually believe in the first one that John McClane is in peril, and that he has got a lot of things invested in that storyline. The fact that he needs to save his wife, the fact that he's stuck in that building, not by he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time as well, you know, and there's no one on his side. It's just him versus the villains, and he's got everything to lose. I mean, if he doesn't complete the mission, his wife will be murdered, and he could end up being murdered. That's what was causing the tension in Die Hard. But it's not nothing here. He just turns up to Moscow to he's not getting on with his son. By the way, there's absolutely no chemistry between these guys. The guy that plays his son and him. When they first meet up in this film, it's like, Jack, what are you doing? That's literally how Bruce Willis is acting. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, he honestly seemed as bored as he was in the One Show, when he had the One Show interview. He seemed as bored in the movie as he was when he was on the One Show doing that interview. Maybe he just was bored of the film and he just didn't want to talk about it. That's the impression I'm getting now. But this film, just there was no chemistry between him and his son, and as I said, I was talking about, there was nothing at stake. Basically, him and his son need to get this old guy who's got this file and keep him safe from the terrorist villains, and that's it. They've got to get him out of the country. Now, why does Bruce Willis have to be involved in that? It seems like he's been shoehorned in because his son's going, oh, I've got to save this guy. And Bruce Willis' character is like, okay then, let's do it. He doesn't question anything. He doesn't like try and say to his son, well, what's going on here? He just seems to, like, his son tells him something and he just goes, okay, let's do it, because I'm bored of being in this film. So let's just shoot stuff. And that's another thing in Die Hard. His character in that is constantly getting injured, and he's vulnerable. I mean, he gets hurt. He gets like in fights, and he's not winning the fight sometimes. And the fact that in the first one, there's a great scene where he has to run across glass, and it cuts all his feet up, and you genuinely feel like he's in great pain, but he's like soldiering on, and he's got great tenacity. And he's coming back, even though he's being injured. And this one, he just like superhuman. Honestly, there's a scene where they're having a gunfight. The bad guy's shooting a gun, right? And Bruce Willis is up on a bridge. And to get his attention, he goes, "Hey, over here!" And the guy shoots at him, and the bullets hit the bridge, like where he's standing, like that. Like he's like, I know, this is a good idea. I'll wave my arms and he'll shoot me, and it will just happen to hit all the bars in front of on the bridge. And the amount of times he smashes through glass, he doesn't even get cut, or like, well, he's got blood coming from him, which seems to disappear in the next scene. But he's got like, it goes through glass, and he'll do like a 50-foot drop, and he'll go for a pane of glass, and then him and his son just get up and walk away. he just becomes like he's like more like the Unbreakable character. It's a sequel to Unbreakable, not Die Hard, because that's the character he is in this. He's like not scared of bullets. He just stands there with a gun, not even like taking cover or anything. And all the bad guys are coming from one entrance. This film is just, and that's the thing. Like, if you're sitting there and you think to yourself, Bruce, there's no way John McClane is gonna die in this film, you know. And there's no one else in it that you really like think, oh, I hope they live. I hope they survive. Then you do every action scene and moment, you're just like, you don't care, because there's just no one there that you're worried about might not make it to the next scene. In Die Hard, like there was people like around John McClane's wife, like there was even the guy that was a jerk, you know, who worked with John McClane's wife, the guy that was a jerk when he got his comeuppance. You kind of felt sorry for him, but in this film, you just don't care about anyone, and just the way that the whole thing is acted. There's lots of explosions. There's lots of, and the car scenes. You know, there's the terrible moment in Quantum of Solace when they're doing that car chase, and it's just a shot over here, a shot over there, a shot over you know, to the road, and then inside the car, and then around the car, and you don't actually really get to see much of the chase. It's very similar to that, and I was watching some of the camera angles, and they were just like point at nothing sometimes, to try and create this kind of like the Bourne films, like the way they film action. It was trying to get that style, and there's so much slow motion in this as well, pointless slow motion. There's even a scene where one of the bad guys is walking with all these lawyers, and they do that in slow motion. And I'm like, what's that about? What's that all about? This film is just awful, really. Okay, I want to talk about the villain. It's hard to do it though, because I don't really want to go into certain plot details. But just to say that the villain is just dull in this. He's not interesting. That's the great thing about the first movie again. John McClane, great character, but also what made that film great was Hans Gruber, you know, the head of the terrorists in Die Hard. Fantastic villain. I heard mention that he was probably the first villain to, you know, bring in like the Eurotrash villain into the cinema world, and I think that's a fair description of him. I saw another trailer for Oblivion with Tom Cruise, and I've really got my fingers crossed for that one. But no, I'm afraid I wasn't a fan of Die Hard 4, but this one, I mean, I know people like Die Hard 4 great, but honestly, I don't know how anyone could like this one. I thought it was just awful. 1.5 stars I'll give it, because well, it made me laugh by its absurdness sometimes, so it's worth a 0.5 star or 1.5 stars, because it is so ridiculous that you kind of like chuckle to yourself at how daft it is. But Die Hard by name only, I'm afraid. I'll catch you later.